Flirting. It can either be the most fun or the most awkward part of dating, depending on how you approach it. Some people are naturals at it, while others feel like they're walking a tightrope, trying to be charming, but fearing they'll come across as awkward, or worse, creepy. So, how do you strike the right balance? Today, we're going to dive into how you can master the art of flirting without making things uncomfortable or weird. Stick with me, and by the end, you'll have a toolkit full of tips that'll help you flirt like a pro without ever crossing that line. Let's kick things off with one simple truth. Flirting is all about making a connection. It's not about cheesy pickup lines, not about making someone feel uncomfortable, and definitely not about forcing attraction. The key to great flirting is showing genuine interest while having fun in the process. When done right, it should feel like a dance, light, playful, and enjoyable for both people. The first mistake people often make is thinking that flirting has to be this grand, obvious performance. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. In fact, subtlety is your best friend when it comes to flirting. Instead of going overboard with compliments or overt actions, start with something simple like body language. Studies show that 93% of communication is nonverbal. So what you do with your posture, eyes, and hands can say more than words ever could. Make eye contact, but don't stare. Lean in slightly when the conversation gets interesting, but don't invade personal space. Flash a genuine smile when they say something funny. These small gestures signal interest without being overbearing. One of the most underrated elements of flirting is humor. Laughter breaks down barriers and creates a sense of comfort between two people. But here's where it gets tricky. There's a fine line between being funny and being obnoxious. Self-deprecating humor can work wonders, but keep it light. A little playful teasing? Sure. But avoid sarcasm or anything that could come off as mean-spirited. The goal is to create an environment where both of you can relax and enjoy each other's company, not to roast them like you're at a comedy club. Here's another important tip. Be genuinely curious. Flirting isn't just about making someone laugh or complimenting them. It's about showing interest in who they are. Ask thoughtful questions. Not the typical "so, what do you do for work?" but something that gives them a chance to share more about themselves. Try, "What's the best adventure you've ever been on?" Or "What's one thing you're really passionate about that most people don't know?" This not only keeps the conversation flowing, but also helps you build a connection on a deeper level. But remember, flirting is a two-way street. If they're giving you short responses or not reciprocating your energy, it might be time to dial things back. One of the biggest mistakes people make is continuing to flirt when the other person isn't interested. Pay attention to their cues. If they're laughing, making eye contact, and engaging with you, great. If they seem distracted or distant, don't push it. Back off, respect their space, and remember, no one owes you anything just because you're being flirty. Now, let's talk about compliments. They're a powerful tool when used correctly, but they can easily backfire if you go overboard. The secret? Be specific. Instead of generic compliments like "you're beautiful," go for something more personalized. "That color really brings out your eyes," or "you have a great laugh," are much more impactful because they show you're paying attention to the little things. And let's face it, people love when you notice the small details. But here's the thing about compliments. They should never feel transactional. If you're only complimenting someone because you want something in return, attention, validation, etc., it'll come across as insincere. Compliment them because you genuinely appreciate something about them, not because you're trying to score points. One often overlooked aspect of flirting is tone. How you say something is just as important as what you say. You could have the perfect line, But if your tone is flat or disinterested, it's going to fall flat too. Conversely, if you sound overly excited or intense, it might make the other person uncomfortable. Aim for a relaxed, playful tone. Think of it as if you're having a light-hearted conversation with a friend, but with a little extra sparkle. Let's address a common fear, coming across as creepy. It's something that can happen when someone's flirting is too aggressive or when they misread the situation. The best way to avoid this is by checking in with the other person's comfort level. If they seem relaxed and engaged, keep going. If they look uncomfortable or start pulling away, that's your cue to tone it down. Flirting isn't about overwhelming the other person with attention, it's about creating mutual enjoyment. If only one person is having fun, something's off. Another key part of flirting that people often overlook: timing. Knowing when to flirt is just as important as how you flirt. If you start flirting too early, it can feel forced. If you wait too long, you might end up in the dreaded friend zone. The best time to flirt is when the conversation is flowing naturally and both of you are comfortable. Look for moments where you can drop a playful comment or light tease without it feeling out of place. Let's switch gears and talk about online flirting, which has become a huge part of modern dating. Texting and messaging have their own set of rules when it comes to flirting. Here's a golden rule for online flirting: keep it light and breezy. Emojis can be your best friend here. They add a playful tone to your messages and make sure nothing comes off too serious or flat. But use them sparingly. You don't want to look like you're 12 years old sending strings of heart eyes or winky faces. Another great online flirting tip: don't be afraid to use humor or be a little cheeky in your texts. Instead of just saying, "Hey, how's your day?" try something like, "Okay, serious question. What's your go-to karaoke song?" It's unexpected, fun, and instantly shifts the conversation from small talk to something more engaging. The goal here is to stand out and create a memorable conversation. When you're flirting, either online or in person, here's something to remember. Flirting isn't a means to an end. It's not about getting something, it's about enjoying the moment. The best flirting happens when you're having fun with the conversation and not focused on a specific outcome. When you approach it with that mindset, the other person can feel the difference. Flirting is also about confidence. You don't have to be the most charming or smooth person in the room. Confidence comes from being comfortable in your own skin. When you're confident, people are naturally drawn to you. But confidence doesn't mean arrogance. Humility and self-awareness are just as attractive. It's about knowing you're worthwhile, still being open, kind, and curious about the person you're flirting with. At the end of the day, the art of flirting comes down to balance, being playful without going overboard, showing interest without coming on too strong, and making the other person feel comfortable while still leaving room for excitement. Master these elements, and you'll find that flirting can be one of the most enjoyable parts of dating. If this information helped you in your situation, please subscribe and feel free to leave a comment. Also, check out my other videos for more dating and relationship tips.